Quarterback looked good. They just look like a high-level operation, I would say.
Yeah, and they're in first place to match it, right? Like they're in first place now, and we talked about this the other day. The 49ers are now 4-0 in the NFC West, which this is not the NFC West that we thought the NFC West was going to be when the 2021 season started. Remember when it was like, could all 4 teams make the playoffs?
So you're saying the Niners have had a roller coaster first 10 games. Seattle's had a pretty incredible first 10 games, and they're tied. And then actually they're not, because like you said, the Niners beat them, so they're in first place.
Yeah, that's a great. You know what it's like? It's like when 2 teams are playing, and one team's played really poorly, and they're only down by like 3 at halftime. And the analyst goes, you know what? If I was the fighting Habermans, I'd feel pretty good right now. I've played this bad, and I'm only down 3 at the half.
Happens a lot like the NCAA tournament in college sports, right?
That's right. Except they're not down 3 at the half. They're up 3 at the half. So just flip the analogy. But that's what it feels like right now. You're right. On paper, if you just woken up, hadn't watched an NFL game this year, you'd go, the Seattle thing at 6-4 would blow your mind. But when you looked at the standings, the Niners at 6-4, 4-0 in the division, you wouldn't quite realize anything had been as wild as it had been. They are by far and away in point differential the leaders in the division too. The Niners are now plus 63 in point differential. The Seahawks are plus 16. Well, I don't think the Seahawks are sustainable.
Wasn't Geno 17-4? Is that the number? Jimmy's 15-4.
Well, Jimmy threw 4 touchdowns today, so he's 15-4 now.
He was 11-4 coming in the game, so now 15-4. Okay. And I would say the last couple games he's been playing pretty high level football. Like he made a couple plays today. I would say that play to Kittle. I'm pretty sure you text me, who the fuck is this guy? Right? Not the George, like clearly the wide receivers and the tight ends know the rules, right? Like when he scrambles, you go. Like they have the coaching points and they know the angles and the where to go. I would say historically, Jimmy, that has not been his bread and butter, right? On the move, left, right, wherever. I'm sure you saw the picture of not the picture. Shit, you might have been, I guess you were working Saturday, but did you watch the Caleb Williams throw?
I watched
rolling to his left.
Yeah.
When he rolled to his left, he made that throw. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Jimmy's doing that, but when Jimmy's rolling now, I'm a little more confident after the last probably month than I've ever been watching him play in his career.
When the rain was pouring early in the game, I thought that maybe we're in for some trouble, but we're not in for any trouble. He played really well. He played fantastic. In fact, the part of the thing that blew my mind was he finished the game 20-29, 228 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Did he even throw an interceptable?
The one pass, did Ayuk slip
Ayuk
on like
slipped,
the comeback? Yeah. And it hit the dude in the helmet.
Yeah. Adrian Wilson. Don't call me Adrian Wilson.
So I would say he was pretty flawless. Like that's about as good of just a start to finish Jimmy Garoppolo eye test game before, not even the box score eye test game he's had in years. I mean, that was pretty good.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but at halftime, the Niners at the half, Jimmy was 14-21 for 153. The Niners at halftime had thrown the ball 21 times and only ran the ball 7 times. I mean, the game plan was we're going to rely on Jimmy's arm. Maybe they felt they had some advantages. They were spreading it around. We'll talk about the other elements of it. But
well, I mean, they got a safety with a bum ankle who's probably their best defensive player. I would say their corners aren't elite. Their pass rush, Chandler Jones is gone. JJ's old. Probably not a huge threat to the 49ers, right? It's not like they're rolling in Aaron Donald and Joey Bosa. So, and maybe Kyle would tell you, you remember MIDDLEKAUFF? You wanted me to spread you out. The reason we don't do that is because we're going against the Chargers, and they have a terrible run defense. I had an offensive coordinator that I talked to probably within the last month over some cocktails on a Friday night. And he told me that the majority of offensive coordinators, whether you're good or bad, like most guys have the right idea, right? They go into a game, and if you have a poor run defense, they're going to try to run the ball. If you have a poor pass defense, they're going to try to pass the ball. Football's not that complicated. Like most guys aren't as big of idiots as all of us think on the outside. Now, for whatever reason that day, right, if you have a bad pass defense, and let's say my quarterback plays poorly, my wide receivers have mailed in that week, Just we're not on the same page and it looks shitty. Of course, the coaching staff has done the breakdowns, has the stats that know your corners are terrible and your safeties are bad. It just might not work, right? But like most coaches have a decent idea. It's just once the game's going, can you adjust off the plan that you came with, what your players are bringing to the table? Like that's just some coaches are stubborn with that. Some coaches just feel like the game plan will play itself out over the game.
Yeah.
And the reality is any fan, the game is there's a finite, like it goes quick. Right. So if your game plan's shitty, you can waste a quarter and a half fast. So by the time you adjust, if you're down 17-3, you might be fucked. But like tonight, I would say clearly from the start, passing was a huge part of the game plan, which honestly gave me some life of like just that Kyle is not going to throw that in the trash 24/7, 365. Like he wasn't just going to hammer. I thought this was his least like, I'm going to try to hammer it into you of the season. It felt like,
yeah.
Yeah,
he was saying, I know what your biggest weakness is, and it's going to be the pass game, so we're going to throw the football against you, right? Not necessarily we do what we do first and foremost. Who cares what your strength or weakness is?
And I think this is where I was on a couple text chains with people that we've been talking about this now for weeks. Okay, we can take advantage of Arizona because their pass defense or whatever. Their weakness is just that's going to be a weakness against any team. It was pretty clear tonight that like Brandon Ayuk's a stud. We know Debo's a star. George Kittle's a stud. Jennings can play. And fucking McCaffrey on every game can get 5 to 9 catches. So it's like, what team has more firepower? Like, thank God the NFL's lucky that Patrick Mahomes isn't the quarterback here because they would win every game. They would score. They'd score 38 points with their eyes closed. So the one thing I would say to Kyle, like, I understand your reservations and your trepidation over the years with Jimmy Garoppolo. There ain't a soul that's watched this team that would necessarily disagree at moments. But, like, if he's going to play confidently, you got too many weapons. I would say 2 in the peak of their powers, 11 and 19. And 20. I mean, 23 is 26 years old. Jesus Christ, does that guy look good? Just throw the ball around. The running game is always going to be there. You got Juice. You got Kittle. You got 71. The Burford, who rotates at guard. I've never seen that in my life, but it clearly kind of works. Brendel had a pretty unreal block, I think, on Debo's touchdown.
Yeah.
It was cool. Aaron Banks is the most guy went from everyone being like, the biggest bust we've ever seen because he didn't play to like no one's ever talked about him because he just makes blocks. It's all working out. But God, I would throw the ball a little more moving forward, guy. I think that is a 49er advantage, unless like who's the greatest pass defense we've ever seen? I don't know. You know, it's probably probably the Seattle Seahawks, Pete Carroll, right? 7-8 years ago. Those teams don't exist. Like you have 11 and 19. And the other thing is you don't need to throw like go routes to get on the ball. Like what does Debo do? He runs slants. He runs that in. What does Ayuk do? Like stuff over the middle? Like it's
China routes, baby, or whatever.
I would say it's relatively easy to get him the ball.
How you don't? Well, I don't want to. Well, I'll get to Ayuk in a second. I'll stick with your point on Jimmy. You know, here's the thing, and tonight's a good example. Quote unquote, throwing the ball around for the 49ers. What you're describing, if I didn't know anything, I'd say like, God, John must be describing a game where he watched somebody throw the ball 45 times for 340 yards. No, you just watched 29 pass attempts for 228 yards. It just felt really different. Now, again, part of it was 21 of those attempts were in the first half. So that's where a lot of it was, right? But it wasn't anything all that crazy. It was just more.
He get credit.
Now they did take a couple shots
to Debo because it was forward, or was it a pitch? Was that a run?
That was a pass. Yeah, that was a pass.
In fairness, Patrick Mahomes got credit for Tyreek Hill plays.
Yeah,
right?
I think they should change that. That was the old. I think Rich Rod
wasn't it a pitch behind him,
Virginia. I don't know. I'm just looking at the box score. Debo did not have a rushing touchdown. Was it behind him?
Maybe it wasn't from him. That's
people on the stream are saying it was definitely a run.
I thought it was a run too, but
so maybe they'll change it.
Well, he has 4 touchdown passes. I saw it too.
So maybe it'll get changed. Everybody says it's a run. All right. But really, the only thing they did out of character today was they took a couple of deep shots to Juwan Jennings. Right? If you said, like, what was different about the pass game today, they took some deep shots to Jennings, and I thought, Jimmy, the one to Jennings and the pylon where Jennings didn't really have separation, and the ball wasn't catchable by either guy.
Not kind of the slant and go.
The one to the down the sideline. I thought it was a pretty good throw. And you just kind of like, hey, I think Jennings won't have separation, but it won't matter because he'll win a jump ball. I think was kind of the thinking. And I actually want to, if you had described it to me, like we're going to throw a deep ball to Jennings, on paper, I wouldn't have liked it. But when I watched it play out, maybe it's because I just, where you're watching Hopkins just not separate, but make plays down the field. Actually, I thought it was fine. I liked it. The ball that we were talking about that he threw where Ayuk slipped was a rope. Like that ball was a rope. I thought Jimmy's arm looked, honestly, I kind of felt like it looked as good as it's looked today.
Well, I wonder, I would guess on the slant and go to Jennings was like a specific, when we get this corner on this guy, he's going to bite because I'm sure that was a game plan play. Jimmy felt like a real quarterback tonight. If that's the quarterback you're going to get, I take you pretty seriously. Now, I always take the 49ers seriously because they've proven it, even when Jimmy's been a roller coaster ride. But you get that Jimmy. Now, again, like you're playing the Cardinals, but it was on the road in Mexico. Like they got dudes on defense flying around. Like they hit you, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they're a flawed team,
you.
but Isaiah Simmons will hit you. Like they got some guys that will fly around and hit you. So they don't really game a pass rush. But Jimmy's confidence, I thought Jimmy stats a little inflated. The Ayuk touchdown was really good. Both Ayuk touchdowns were good.
Yeah, let me just make a quick correct because I'm misreading.
Debo was running.
Yeah, Debo did get a running touchdown for that. So 2 to Kittle.
Kittle had the two,
to Ayuk. Yeah, thank you.
If you just get good Jimmy, you got a chance to beat anyone. If your defense is going to play well, I would say that. In their defense, one thing I do think we have to acknowledge is like why they're going to need Jimmy to play well is because, they have a really good NFL defense. They have a playoff defense, but they don't have some like 2001 Ravens defense, some 85. Like any given game, like the other team can score 7 points total, right? Because it's a passing league, and their best corner, I like the guy, but I would not call Charvarius Ward some lockdown corner. Like they're going to need to score to win probably 20 plus points. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's not like you got to score 35 points to win a game, but their defense on any given game can give up 15 to low 20s, right?
Yeah.
They're good. They're solid. The overwhelming majority of teams, beside the Broncos, you see the Broncos, number one scoring defense, only team in like league history through this point in time in the season to be number one league scoring defense and worst scoring offense. So like the best scoring defense and the worst scoring offense. Like it's statistically like how does
does the coach get no credit for that?
Well, the UC Davis. I was thinking today actually at the gym. I'm like, I wonder if this UC Davis defensive coordinator gets 0. Like I wonder if you were Sean Payton or I don't know if Sean Payton, whoever takes like the job.
Yeah,
like this guy's fucking good. Why would you even mess with him?
Why would you not? Yeah,
the boys are flying around. And listen, same thing with the 49ers. Like if you inherited this Niner team,
they make him the head coach.
Nico. Honestly, why not? Well, it might diminish. We saw that with Dennis Allen, right?
That's true.
So the Niners defense is fine, but I do think we all have come to grips with, given some of their injuries, like their corners. I like Charvarius, but he's not. I think sometimes when you get a new signing and he's so much better than you have, I think it's fair to say like this guy's not Revis or Sherman in his prime. He's a good player.
Yeah.
To me, his best attribute
he's clearly not 100% either.
No, but you're not going to fly by him and he's going to tackle you. Like I respect any corner that will tackle. So, okay, Hopkins gets some catches. 7 for 77 when no one else is really doing anything is not killing you, right? It's the 7 for 180. Honestly, beside the one crazy Dortch play, they didn't have those like 30, 40-yard explosive plays on them.
No, I mean, they have generally looked, he has shored up. He has done for them what they needed him to do for them. Mooney Ward. He's done for them what they needed, right?
For sure.
They look much better, and it's without Emmanuel Mosley.
Well, don't you think tonight, I mean, I would have to watch the film, but part of the reason why he was always tackling Hopkins, it felt like he was chasing him around, right?
Yeah. Because wasn't the stat like he lines up? That's where he lines up, and Hopkins lines up 90% of the time to the left, so they just ended up on each other a lot.
Oh, you're just saying they randomly, just the way it played out, they just line up on each other. It's not like
I don't think he
followed
was. Again, I have to watch the tape. I don't think he was following him.
You can live with. You're right. God, those two guys. You just look at the stats, like 9 for 103, 9 for 91. Like those two guys, like came to play.
You'd be like, oh my God.
When did the Niners ever have that? Right.
Now it was some Dortch, some
Dortch got 47 yards on the one. Yeah.
And he had some garbage time production, but yeah. He looked good. I was just going to look up. Somebody said the Niners are 54 to nothing in the last, have not allowed points in 3 straight games in the second half. 54 to nothing in the second half in 3 straight games.
Hashtag head coach.
Yeah. Which job does he want? Charger job?
I don't think if you're the Chargers, you can hire D'Amico Ryans, can you?
No, I mean, you try to get Sean Payton. Do I think Air Force Academy was a good move? I thought it was weird, but I mean, hard to argue with it now. The other thing, I've not looked at like the PFF blocking numbers. I think part of the reason Jimmy was so good was I thought they blocked really well. Jimmy had a lot of time. It felt like to throw, didn't it?
He did a couple of like pumps and like, I'm going to step up and where are you?
Ayuk. The first
Aaron Donald was not chasing him around tonight.
No, but remember he wasn't. I was just gonna.
But again, like this is where
down.
When you play a fucking like part of the reason the lions in the jungle in Africa, every single meal is not chasing some zebra who is 100%. They have to like chase like the pack of 7. Sometimes they just get a guy that's got a broken leg. They're like, you see this water buffalo? He can barely walk. Let's fucking eat this thing. You have to kick the shit out of the bad teams. And part of the reason why a lot of people have been mad at this operation is like, what is going on? How do you get up for the good teams and get down to the bad teams? Like tonight, this team was a wounded animal coming in, and the Niners curb stomped them. Honestly, it was refreshing to see. It really was. Just beat the shit out of them. And just over the course of the game, like your better players just separated. And there's nothing they could do.
Right.
Nothing they could do.
And you're beating up the quarterback also makes it feel. I think, actually, I want to get to this next.
I think the one guy, if you've watched the Hard Knocks, that rookie that started against Aaron Donald,
the
54.
The right guard that Kevin Givens smoked.
Got him killed. Oh, my God.
Well, I guess he didn't smoke. He just passed him off to the center, and the center wasn't there.
When I watched that, I'm like, oh, this guy's going to get destroyed come Monday.
You know how when you haven't played golf in like 3 months, you go out and you actually play well the first time? That was that guy's debut against Aaron Donald. Now it's back to earth.
But when I saw that guy at dinner going like, guys, I never expected to get called up. Like, I just thought I was weird here. I just wanted to pay like 100. I was cool with like making 150K practice squad. I made the league. Like my family was cool with me. My dad was proud. It was like, oh, I don't know if this guy's the most confident. And then honestly, I'm not a big Kyler guy, but his comment at the dinner when Kyler looked at him, it's like, bro, it's a screen. You just go out and you go forward. I was like, God, Kyler, if Kyler was normally like this, I might kind of like him.